this is you. Your name is Square Enix, and the year is 1985, which now that I think about it means your name isn't Square Enix. Your actual name is just Square! Square has developed many games that we aren't gonna pretend you care about. Let's not lie to ourselves, you haven't played any of them. Games like this one, that one over there, and some other thing. But then Square would make a game. One game that would change the trajectory of the company for years to come. And that game was King's Final Fantasy! A fantasy role-playing game developed by Square in 1987. And yeah, I guess you could say it was successful. It even spawned a few sequels. Jump to 2020 and your name is actually Square Enix now, and you've got an announcement for the world. I'm not doing a Japanese accent because that would be racist. Also, Project Athia! A new IP from Square Enix, a story-led, action-packed adventure designed from the ground up for PlayStation 5. Headed by Loomis Productions, a studio started up by Square Enix to hone the power of the Loomis engine to bring us one of the most beautiful games of all time. Square Enix was sure they were going to release one of this generation's best games, and nothing in the whole world was going to stop them. Oh no. Oh no! Oh, fuck! The launch of Forspoken has been an absolute disaster. Horrendous dialogue, a massive graphical downgrade, and some of the worst optimization of any AAA game released today. But underneath all of that, under all of the crashes, the writing, the frame rate drops, is there actually a good game here? And is all the hate that this game gets really justified? In today's video, I'm going to be taking, in my opinion, the deepest look that you're going to get at Forspoken to discuss everything from its combat, its opening, its characters, and its story to finally answer the question, is Forspoken really that bad? Welcome to a critical view of Forspoken. You are hating Forspoken wrong. It's a spiteful title that insinuates that you as a player or an audience member are incapable of coming to a valid conclusion about this game. Is it clickbait? Well, no, because you are hating Forspoken wrong. But let me clarify. My issue isn't that you are hating Forspoken incorrectly. My issue is that you aren't meeting your true hater potential. Put it simply, you need to be hating this game more. Now let me be clear, this isn't your fault, because you most likely sit in one of two categories. Either you watched your favorite streamer play the game for the first 5 hours and concluded that the game was shit, or you're a PC player and the game doesn't fucking run properly. I mean, you could be a PlayStation 5 owner who played the game and everything went well, but let's not lie to ourselves here, none of you fucking own one. Either you can't play the game, or you watched someone else played it, they made fun of the MCU dialogue, blah 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 blah, and then they just signed off. But I am here to tell you that outside of the opening of this game, things get worse. Like, way worse. There is one element of the game that people seem to be getting wrong, and I love it. But before we can discuss the one redeeming element of this game, let's discuss the opening and the start to our adventure. When writing for a video game, it is really important that you establish the player character correctly. Fail to have us invested in the player character and your whole story will suffer for it. You play as Frey, a 21-year-old New Yorker down on her luck as she struggles to save enough money to move out of the city and truly start her life. After losing everything, she is teleported to a different dimension where the world is being terrorized by the tyrannical Taunters. Your goal is simple. Save the people of this world by killing the Taunters, and maybe they can find you a way back home. Now that's an incredibly watered down summary of the story, and I probably will elaborate later. But as a writer, to put all of these events into motion, you need to establish 3 things. Who is Frey and why do we like her? Where does she live and why does she want to get back? And what is this dimension and how did she get there? Okay, I mean, technically that's 6 things, but technically you're unlovable and you'll die alone, so let's just pretend it was 3, okay? Frey was orphaned as a child. She has grown up with nothing and has turned to crime in order to make her way through life. The gang she's in wants her dead. She's basically homeless and is desperate for a way out of the situation. She has a cute cat that she loves reading, and she's always cracking jokes despite her life being the fucking worst. Now I'm explaining all this for a reason. How do you think a game conveys all of this information to us in a natural way that doesn't feel forced? We're going to do an exercise here. You may have heard of it. It's called writing. We are going to be writing our own opening in the hopes of making everything make sense, and then I'll show you what the game actually went for. The game opens up in a courthouse, so let's actually just do the same thing. Let's start here. Let's have Frey in court as she's been caught for another crime. The judge can make a remark that this time only she was caught as opposed to her and her gang. This establishes that not only is Frey in a gang, but that she has had multiple felonies all related to one another. You could even open the game with the crime that Frey committed with the gang to visually show us how Frey fucked things up, got caught, and why the gang wants to mess her up due to her fumbling the job. You could even make it that she was stealing antiques and she heard a voice call out to her, making her hesitate, which is why the job fell apart. I'm putting this here for a future explanation, just you wait. Now let's have the judge empathize with Frey, as the judge was on the board when Frey was abandoned on the streets as an infant. This not only allows the judge to let Frey go with a warning because she likes her, but also brings up the fact that Frey was orphaned. You could even have there be a remark that they are going to call her a taxi, as she was never adopted and has no one to come and get her. Top this all off with her cracking a small joke as she leaves. It wouldn't be necessarily funny, but it could be a really good way to illustrate to the audience that she uses humor as a coping mechanism. She goes to her trashy apartment and we see Homer, her cute cat. This is her ties to this world, why she refuses to leave the city, and why she would want to come back should she be teleported to, oh, I don't know, another world. She cannot leave arguably her only family behind. She sits down and reads a book to Homer as the scene fades to black. This shows us that she likes reading. And congratulations, we have successfully managed to establish 2 of our 3 key elements, whilst also checking off all of the character notes I pointed out at the start. Now we're gonna stop here for now, because everything that I explained would have worked, but that sure as hell is not what this game went with. Let's go one by one, shall we? How do we know the Frey is an orphan? Because the game forces you to read a random document while you're on trial. How do we know she has a criminal history? Because the game forces you to read a random document while you're on trial. How do we know that she likes reading? Because the game forces you to read a random document while you're on trial. How do we know the gang wants her dead? Because they explain something that happened off screen and put a gun to her head in an open and public space, making them seem stupid? Okay, how do they establish that Frey has a good sense of humor? She makes fun of the people that literally are about to murder her with a gun to her head.
Lisa? Really? I thought she was Lisa. Well, in my defense, you don't really look like a Lisa. Not like I wanted to get caught stealing the car, but here we are. Okay, fine, we'll just tell your boss, Mr. Chicken. Giggin. Gwiggin. Giggin! All right, giggin. Quick gig.
One of us is gonna be in a lot of pain.
Do I get to pick?
Leaving the audience confused on if this scene is supposed to be serious or not. I explained in my version of the opening that her cat Homer is her tie to this world, but in the actual opening, she gives Homer up and is left with nothing tying her to the city. Number 1, who is Frey and why do we like her? In my opening, we are organically given details about who Frey is, leaving us feeling like we know her, and we like her because of how optimistic she is that despite everything, she will never give up on Homer. She is an optimistic, down on her luck girl who we want to see succeed. In the actual opening, she is a stuck-up,
not like I wanted to get caught stealing the car, but here we are.
Unserious,
Okay, fine, we'll just tell your boss, Mr. Chicken.
unoptimistic,
You have so much
Potential? I can do so much more with my life. I'm a smart girl with a bright future.
clown. Number 2, where does she live and why would she want to get back there? In my opening, she needs to get back as Homer has been abandoned and she is worried that he will die if left alone. This is her family. We see how much she loves him, and who doesn't love a cute cat? In the actual opening, after the gang sets her apartment on fire, she gives up Homer to the judge and just buggers off. Keep in mind, in my version of the opening, the judge actually liked Frey and has a past with her. In the actual opening, the judge says this.
You have so much
Potential? I can do so much more with my life. I'm a smart girl with a bright future.
I was going to say you have so much anger and resentment in you, I'm not sure you'll ever amount to anything at all.
Why does Frey feel like they're close enough to just dump an animal in her lap? Now, there is nothing tying Frey to the city. She has no reason to come back. So her desperation to get back to the city throughout the game just doesn't work. She says it's for Homer, but we never felt that connection, leaving us with the unexplained number 3. What is this dimension, and how did she get here? It is revealed that this was Frey's original home when she was an infant, and that she was sent to Earth to save her from the decaying world of Athia. The reason I've been telling you how I feel things should have gone is because Forspoken had a lot of potential, and miraculously seemed to fumble its story and its characters at every fucking turn. So here's the question: how did Frey get teleported to Athia? We're going to mix things up here. This time, I'm going to tell you how things actually happened, and then I'm going to tell you how things should have gone. Just to show you how easy it is to fix this fucking game. Frey finds a random cuff in an abandoned building, and it teleports her to Athia. Whoa! Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. I feel like I skipped over some details there. Let me try again. Frey is standing on top of a construction tower. She randomly gives off a ray of light. She looks down, happens to see a cuff in an abandoned building, touches it, and then gets teleported to another world. Now, to you guys, that may seem all well and good, but let me explain how fucking insane this is. In the actual story, this cuff is linked to who Frey is as a character. The cuff was her mother's. It's the only item from Athia that sits on Earth. It's Frey's only tie to her mother. This cuff is the only thing that was able to unlock Frey's magical powers that she actually had the entire time, and she finds it by sheer fucking luck by standing on a construction tower, looking down into an abandoned building, and this thing's just sitting there, waiting for the plot to just force Frey to find it for no fucking reason. Now, in my version of the story, this thing at least helps Frey find it. In the game, it's a sentient cuff. It can talk. It's an antique. It's valuable, so it would be stored away with other valuable items, say an antique store. Frey is a criminal, so Frey goes to steal valuable things. She is genetically linked to the cuff, and it can speak, so it calls out to her because it's fucking magic, making her get caught by the cops. Later, when she is sleeping, she hears the cuff call out to her because it's fucking magic. She's curious. She breaks into the crime scene. She sees the cuff that has been calling out to her because it's fucking magic. She touches it. It wakes up the powers she inherited from her mother, who, by the way, had powers to open up portals. She accidentally makes a portal and is brought to Athia. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. All 3 boxes are ticked. Make the rest of the game by exploring the world, fighting bad guys in order to save Homer, and you've got yourself a fucking banger, baby. Instead, Frey happens to just fucking find the cuff by sheer luck, lands in Athia, and wants to get back to New York because reasons. Am I losing my fucking mind here? The explanation as to why the cuff is on Earth is that it went through the portal with Frey. This fucking thing has been sitting in a random building for over 20 years, waiting for Frey to find it. How did it get into the building if it was dropped off with Frey and Frey was found in the middle of the fucking street? How has no one fucking taken this thing? Or better yet, how has no one in general just found this thing? None of this is explained. The opening fails to do everything expected of it. Who is Frey and why do we like her? She is a stuck-up smartass who we don't like. Where does she live and why does she want to get back? She lives in a shithole, has no family, and has no logical reason to want to come back outside of the fact that this is where she's been tormented for the last 20 fucking years. What is this dimension and how did we get here? She got here by sheer fucking luck and we are not told anything about this world for the first 10 hours of the game. Damn, what an absolute train wreck of an opening. I'm sure the rest of the game couldn't possibly get any worse. Oh, hold on. What is this? Is this a... Oh, god damn it. This video is going to be longer than my I'll make a video on it someday chart if I explain the story as its own segment. So, fuck it. I'm going to go through all of this shit as we go through the absolute mess of a story. So, here we go. You wake up in Athia with Cuff locked onto your arm. And no, not a Cuff, just Cuff. That's his name. This is Cuff. I'm probably not going to talk about him. Why? Because he's not a fucking character. He's just a thing.
I had a nightmare and it was 10 times better than this.
It is quite beautiful.
Yeah, and everything here wants to kill you kind of way.
No, I just mean that even amongst the madness, there's a sort of delicate grace. Destruction and corruption are forms of creation in themselves.
You walk around a little bit and you bump into a dragon, which later on you'll come to realize is your mum. Now I hear you say, care to elaborate? And I'll simply reply with, could you kindly shut the fuck up? After trying to kill you for some reason. I just looked it up and apparently this isn't an error. This is actually just called parenting, so my mistake. The dragon drops you off to the only remaining livable city in Athia, and you're taken prisoner and sentenced to death. I am not joking when I say I honest to God thought they didn't like Frey because she's black. Because I have no idea why they do this. They call you a demon because you came from outside of the city, which apparently is just unheard of due to the break. What is the break? Shut the fuck up. The city takes you prisoner until you're broken out by this lady. And holy fuck, it's time to talk about the level design because this shit is ugly and boring as fuck. Now, level design can be two things, visual presentation and interactability. We're just going to talk about the visuals for now. Put it simply, it sucks. The city looks like if the concept of a square fucked a flat slab of concrete. There is just no detailing anywhere. Everything's just flat, like literally and color-wise. And you know the devs were embarrassed by the level design because when you break out of prison and you are set loose in the city, the game does everything for you. Like, everything! I'm not holding the controller here. The level design is so bland that the game is scared shitless to let you explore it yourself during the stealth mission. Because if you fail here and had to restart this long, boring, tedious mission with this level design, they know you're gonna turn this game off. I'm lost for words here. I don't know what to say. What the fuck am I supposed to say? Look at this. As for the rest of the game, it's a big load of empty. Fucking hell, they don't even explain how the biomes work correctly. I'm not kidding when I say that apparently, according to the game, both this biome and this biome are under fucking water. No, seriously, you're underwater.
Wait, am I breathing underwater?
The thicker the break becomes, the less the rules of the normal world apply.
Well, not much is gonna surprise me after this.
At least when I'm in a cutscene, there are, characters to contrast from the fucking slabs of concrete. Oh, shh, here comes one now. Oh, you've got to be joking. You'll be amazed to hear that I'll be talking about all the characters in this segment. And you're also probably astonished because you're looking at the timeline of this video, seeing the length of this segment and wondering why it's so fucking short. Why is it short? Because no one in this fucking game is a likable character. It is fucking ballsy of me to even call them characters. The word character is doing a lot of fucking legwork. Now let me be clear, characters can be unlikable and be good. It's why we're going to be talking about the villains in an upcoming segment. But everybody else? No! All the people of the city want Frey dead for the crime of literally being alive.
She is hell's spawn. How else could she survive in the corruption? How did you emerge from the corruption of Junoon unscathed?
I wouldn't exactly say unscathed.
It is because she and the corruption are one and the same. We must execute her immediately!
And when the city finally warms up to her, it's not because she's kind or they realize she's not a threat. It's because she goes and murders a few people, and that's kind of based, I guess. Could I tell you anyone's names? Nope. In fact, you'd be better off describing the characters with the term angry. Angry librarian, angry councilman, angry protagonist. Fact is, everyone cannot stand Frey. So why, me playing as Frey, would I want to help any of these people? Which is fucking quadruple insane, because I honestly don't blame them for not liking her either. Because I sure as fuck don't. When the father of her only friend in this world dies, she loses her shit and gets pissy about it and doesn't even think to comfort her friend.
Fuck. Break Bob was my last shot at getting out of this place. Now I'm stuck in this insanity.
Apologies if my father's death has inconvenienced you. I have lost the father who I only was just reunited with, who I was hoping to spend more time with, who was all I had left. I'm sorry that's been so hard on you.
No, I didn't.
Didn't what? Think? No, your only concern is for yourself. My people have lost so much. They can't just get out of this insanity. This is their home. My home. But don't let our grief and assured destruction get in the way of your self-pity.
Okay, that's fair.
Fair? You want to talk about fair? What's unfair is the only person capable of helping us is too self-absorbed to do so.
I don't care what happens to Athia. If it's saved or if it burns, I don't give a shit because this place is not my home.
She even cracks a joke. I'm not joking here. She cracks a joke about the father 5 seconds after he dies.
Whoosh.
Yeah. Yeah, a whoosh. I gotta get back to where I gotta be through a whoosh.
Whoosh. Whoosh.
Yes, whoosh!
The only person in this game that likes you isn't even a person. It's a talking inanimate object. And this fucker is gonna turn out to be the villain. Are the villains any better? No. They're not any better. Every single one of them will turn out to actually be a super cool, epic good guy. The dragon? That's your mummy. The Tanters? Those are your aunties. All the monsters in the world are confused because of the break, and oh, don't worry, we'll get to the fucking break real soon. The Tanters will turn out to only be bad guys because of their cuffs, and the cuffs are somehow linked to the break that's making every other motherfucker evil, right? Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Here's a good question. What the fuck is the break? Nobody fucking knows! Not even the developers know! The game tells you that the world fell apart because of the break, but it is never explained where it came from, what causes it, and how you stop it. It is the thing killing off the population, and it showed up around the time the Tanters went evil. Oh, so it must be caused by the Tanters. No, it's not. The Tanters are evil because of just some guy, and oh, we'll fucking get to that too, don't worry. But no, they don't control the fabric of the world. They're just people with elemental powers. So it turns out that outside of the 3 people that are just a little bit mean in the story, the main threat to life itself and the actual thing killing people in the streets does not have an explanation, or at least in the story it's not explained. Here, let's check the wiki. The break is a devastating miasma in Athia that relentlessly corrupts everything it touches. Humans become hostile and mindless, animals morph into monsters, and even the land itself takes on a bizarre appearance. That does not explain anything! Am I losing my my mind? Hold on, there's gotta be more. Wait, what? No, that's the entire wiki page. That's the explanation to the main issue in the world. This cannot get any worse. This game, it cannot get any worse. Oh, wait. Yes, it does. Because it turns out that the main villain the whole time during the entire game was, in fact, the cuff.
Don't call me Cuff!
I think I get it now.
Gus, you told me?
That's what the taunters were talking about.
Oh, I want you to say it, please. Say it.
They weren't talking about me at all.
Say it. Say it.
It's you. You're the demon.
Hussa!
Who the fuck is the cuff? The cuff, it turns out, is a demon that the Taunters battled when they were good, that you were never told about during the game. Fact is that as the player, you assume the Taunters are evil due to the break, because you know, the mysterious miasma is literally explained to corrupt people, as it's like the only thing it does. So...
When the Tantas become evil, it is due to the cuffs that they were all given after defeating the demon. It is clearly illustrated that everyone knew the Tantas' corruption originated from the cuffs they all had, as they are the main villain's soul split into 4 parts and distributed among the 4 cuffs. Frey makes the realization that everyone calling her a demon through the story were actually referring to the cuff she was wearing, and that an entity lived with in it, which means everyone knew about the demon and no one fucking told her. Everyone in the history of Ethia knew her killing the Tantus would result in the demon becoming whole again, and no one informs Frey. This is not intentional. The writers just forgot that everyone knew and tried to pull a twist villain anyway.
Now, seeing all of this, you may say to yourself that, man, that's a really bad game. It surely could not get any worse. Spoiler alert, it gets even worse! However, I promised you all a glimpse of hope at the start of this video, and I plan to deliver. What is the one thing that redeems this game in the smallest way possible? The combat. The combat in this game is fucking amazing. I mean, you know, when the game wants to run properly, Earth is your starting power and is designed from the ground up as your support class. While your attacks are adaptable for any occasion, your support spells are designed to keep you alive with turrets, traps, and even lifesteal should you be struggling with a crowd. Fire is designed from the ground up as melee, with your spells designed to lock enemies in so you can deal with them without the possibility of escape. Water is a nullifying class, designed to immobilize and group enemies up for you to hit them with larger blows from other classes of magic. The class even allows you to obtain extra jumps on successful hits in order to maintain high ground and avoid enemies that try to close the gap. Electricity, though, is a fascinating one, as the class is designed to do no damage. Your default attacks do no damage. All they do is lock darts onto your enemies, with your other spells triggering effects upon the darts should you find an opening to do so. And what really brings all of this together is the speed of combat. If you're just walking around mindlessly and shooting enemies, you are forced to charge up your attacks before being able to release them. The only way to avoid these charge up timers is to run. The game incentivizes you to keep your combat punchy and fluent by rewarding you for keeping enemies on their toes. Whilst running, spells are fired instantly, without any form of delay. The combat in Forspoken is truly, and I mean this, I've shat on this game for the last 30 minutes probably. The combat in Forspoken is truly one of a kind, and I love it. It's just a shame that it's attached to such a fucking dog shit game. Now, I told you that I'd be talking about aspects of the game as I explain the story alongside it. You may be thinking that I failed to do so, but I didn't. You wake up in Athia, you kill the Taunters because you think it'll lead to you getting home. You mistakenly bring back the demon by killing the Taunters. You kill him after running around for, I'm not joking, 2 hours while the game tries to fill you in on all the story it hid away from you, and then the game ends. But what if I told you it gets even worse? You kill Cuff, who was the demon the whole time. He murders and slaughters thousands after he's brought back to his original form. And after you kill him, after beating the game, you get this scene.
I'll continue to study my father's notes on reversing the break. Maybe between the two of us we'll find a way.
And now the real work begins. Damn. That is a lot of land for just one girl to cover. But it's a good thing I'm not doing it on my own. Isn't that right, Cuff?
It's fair, Brace.
The game is designed from the ground up to have Cuff talk you through so much of the side content that the writers were forced to keep him alive and for you to make up with him so that it would make sense that he's still with you. They make you forgive a genocidal maniac because reasons. You were all hating Forspoken wrong this whole time. You thought this game was bad because of some fucking cringy voice lines? What, because of some optimization issues? This game is so bad that the studio that made it has been shut down. Forspoken, more like, for fuck's sake, this game is broken. If you enjoyed this video in any way, shape, or form, you are obligated to listen to this part because I have never actively plugged every piece of social media that I have on this channel before, and I'm tired of not having people over there. But before I plug anything, a big thank you to all my patrons on Patreon that make these videos possible, and an even bigger thank you to Papa-san and Nicole for being a part of my $10 tier. We have a Discord server. If you donate to the Patreon, you get an exclusive chat. That's pretty cool. Like the fucking video. God damn it. Leaving a hate comment also seems to boost the algorithm, so if you don't like me, shut the fuck up. Tell me about it in the comments. Oh, and maybe press the subscribe button. I think that does something. If you're looking for another video where I completely shit on something, there's always my Modern Warfare 2 video up on the screen right now. But if you're looking for something a little bit more positive and philosophical, be sure to head on over to my Road 96 video. Probably my best video, so if you're looking for another juicy piece of content, that's the way to go. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're one of the 4 people that actually enjoys the algorithm teasers that I had at the end of my videos, I'm really sorry. They're not here anymore. But don't panic. There's plenty of algorithm content on the way in the form of their own videos. A trailer coming in a few months. I'll see you guys in the next one.